Hi, what does Shahrukh Khan, Aamir Khan, Karan, Johar and Tusshar Kapoor have in common? Surrogate babies. Surrogacy has always been a controversial topic. Today, we are going to discuss surrogacy at length with an expert, Dr. Kanaki Uttararaj, who is the director of Thamarai Fertility Services. So before going on to speak to the expert, I would like to brief you a little bit about this surrogacy regulation bill, the draft bill of which has already been passed and is now pending with the parliamentary committee. Now, what does this bill actually say? Only the close relative of a couple that comes seeking for surrogacy can be a surrogate mother, and the surrogate mother should be necessarily aged between 25 and 35 years. You cannot, or the couple cannot, engage surrogate mothers commercially. And a surrogate mother can be a surrogate only once in a lifetime. The surrogate mother should have necessarily one child, and this surrogacy that she is going in for, as far as renting a room, should be the second or maybe third. And the doctors or the hospital should primarily ensure that she is medically and psychologically fit for surrogacy. And the last point is that if the surrogate mother is an Indian, then the couple should be Indian citizens and should have been married at least for 5 years. Hello, doctor.
Hi.
So Dr. Karan Johar is perhaps the last single male who had rented a womb. So what do you actually think? Is it because of these celebs that there's so much of hype about surrogacy, or has there been a misuse?
Well, it's both. It's both because of the celebs it got into the limelight. It's been there for quite some time, but why it fell into disrepute, we had a law for that, is because of the celebs being involved. Well, the other part of your question was there really a bad side to it? Yes, I would say there was some extent exploitation.
Okay, exploitation in what sense, doctor?
The women.
Okay.
Okay. Like informed consent, it is. They have to understand the whole picture of what would happen to them in pregnancy. Fortunately, most of the pregnancies go on well, but you know, a pregnancy can turn whole topsy-turvy in 5 seconds, and whether that is told to the woman is the exploitation bit.
Okay. And so are more and more people getting on to surrogacy just because they don't want to go through the rigor of pregnancy? Mm-hmm. Is that what we're seeing in the celebs?
Celebs, yes, maybe that is the reason they don't want their and but most of the other reasons are genuine. Most of the other indications which we have come across as doctors are very, very genuine. I mean, they don't have a uterus, or their uterus is not there and not functional for some reason. Those are genuine people, but they would account for less than 1% of the whole scenario.
So you're trying to say that the medically intended surrogacy accounts to less than 1%?
Very, very little.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
because
okay.
there are very few people with no uteri or severe uterine problems.
Okay.
Where we can't do anything.
So which means it's largely, I mean, then why do we ever even need surrogacy?
Yeah, they think it's easy to make somebody else get your baby.
Okay.
But see, once you get the baby, it's biologically yours. You can forget about the mother.
Okay.
And you don't go through the rigors of
pregnancy,
delivery, etc., etc.
Okay.
You make somebody else take the risk.
Right. Doctor, this bill has been passed. The Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2016 has been passed, and so many people have been calling it a draconian bill. Is it truly draconian?
I would say banning it all is truly draconian, because there are genuine people who would need it, and you can do it in a very refined way, not exploiting anybody, but at the same time benefit of both parties. It can be done very nicely. But then if these people are now denied a baby because of this bill, now they have to resort to adoption, which is not easy again. You have to register through the carer, and you have to go through so many formalities. You have to accept whatever child that comes on your waiting list, which may not be acceptable to many couples.
So doctor, in countries like US, Georgia and Ukraine, surrogacy is legalized. So how different is it in India?
Well, we are so culturally different from those countries you've mentioned. Our society, the family structure, everything is so different. So we cannot apply what is there to our own country. And even within India, there are so much of cultural differences. So you cannot apply a social law like surrogacy so easily to this population. That's what I feel.
Okay. Doc, does India have the potential to be a world leader in surrogacy, and has this particular draft bill hindered it?
Why should we be a world leader in surrogacy? There's no need, first of all. See, surrogacy should be for absolutely on an altruistic basis for those people who need it medically.
Okay.
So there's no question of being the world leader. It becomes very commercial when you aim to be the world leader in surrogacy.
Okay.
So it should be a very altruistic program, and looking after the welfare of both the biological mother and the genetic mother. So none of their health should be compromised, and it should be done for truly medical reasons. That's how you should look at surrogacy.
Okay. Doctor, and as far as this egg donation is concerned, as per this draft bill, egg donation is completely banned. And in the case of Tusshar Kapoor and Karan Johar, both of them, it was their sperm and the eggs were donated. So what do you think is the future of egg donation?
Well, that if the bill is passed in the parliament, then that's going to be very draconian, because we come across a lot more of people in need for egg donation rather than for surrogacy.
Okay.
So this bill will sort of turn a lot into adoptions, and the most worrisome is whether there'll be more remarriages because the lady is at fault. So that'll be the social
a social stigma,
implication of if the egg donation becomes a thing.
So this egg donation, doc, is it doctor, is it associated with surrogacy, or any egg donation, even if there's a medical requirement, is it banned?
No, it's not really bad. The whole thing has to be passed in the parliament.
Right,
it's on
right,
the guidelines,
right.
The whole ART.
No, now that this particular draft bill is passed, is it only attached to surrogacy, or?
No, it's an individual thing, individual. And there'll be a lot of clauses. Probably there will be permissible, there'll be leeways for those who really need it medically.
Okay.
But it will take off the commercialization of egg donation. But it may be very difficult because there'll be a lot of paperwork, and there may be a lot of hurdles before the genuine patient really reaches there for an egg donation.
Doctor, as far as surrogacy is concerned, how many cases do we see on an average in a year?
Surrogacy, I told you, it's about a percentage of those who.
No, if you could tell us the numbers.
I'll tell you the statistics. About 10% of the reproductive age group will be having fertility problems, and out of this 10%, out of that another 10% or maybe 20 to 30% may need assisted reproduction. And in those couples coming for assisted reproduction, probably, as I said, 1 to 2% only need another uterus for the baby to grow. So it's a very
and
small
only the affluent
percentage.
class usually go in for it.
It's not affluent. See, suppose there's a sister willing to be a surrogate.
That's what the draft bill says.
The draft bill. Then there is anybody can have it as long as they can bear the expenses of an assisted reproductive.
So, doctor, do you think that relatives will really come forward to?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of relative sisters.
Okay.
See, the whole thing is, it is how the attitudes of the families are.
True.
Sister, not only sister's husband has to agree for it.
Right. Absolutely.
Sister's mother-in-law has to agree for it. So there are so many thing in our social system, but in spite of that, a lot of people who come forward to bear the child for their own sisters.
So, doctor, we've been speaking a lot about LGBT rights. Now, this kind of a bill, if passed in the parliament, will it snatch the rights of the transsexual?
Yes, it will take off their rights. Because as it is, there's a lot of stigma attached in our country, and the whole thing, it is it's not their fault that they are that way, and there's no reason why they should not have a child, right? So this kind of a bill might take away their rights.
And finally, doctor, what are the implications both for the mother as well as for the baby?
For the baby, see, apart from all the legal fringes, let me tell you some real life situations. First of all, there can be death of the mother, surrogate mother. In that case, there's nothing lost to the biological parents, but the family of hers with probably young children whom she planned to support is gone, motherless children. That's one thing, and it has happened. And the second part is where the child is not taken back by the biological parents for whatever reason. They can't pay back the money, or they've separated, or whatever. So the child is left with the surrogate mother, and she cannot just throw it off.
And she cannot take care of it either.
She cannot take it back to the family because the family is not going to accept it.
True.
So there have been instances where the government has stepped in here and intervened in the for the sake of the welfare of the baby.
So what happens? The baby goes to a home.
Goes to a home. No, they made the biological parents take it back.
Okay.
There was a compromise.
So the biological parents are legally binded that way.
Bound to take back, but then there are issues of payments, and so many little things can bar them.
Okay.
The third aspect is a lot of foreigners come and have surrogate mothers, Indian surrogate mothers.
Okay.
They do everything and they go off. The baby is born, and the couple separate by the time baby is born.
Okay.
It's a very drastic situation.
Okay.
So what happens to this baby? It's ethnically different. True. And born in a foreign soil, doesn't belong to anybody. It has happened again.
Okay.
And there have been issues of passports not being legalized for these kind of children. So there has been again
which
cases.
are the countries that
Germany is one of them.
Okay.
So it's been a very difficult situations where the baby is really suffers.
Okay.
And for the mother, her long-term illnesses, all those things, but they are all explained to her.
But doctor, we don't mention anything specific in passports, do we?
No, actually the birth certificate is in the name of the biological mother.
Then how does an issue crop up?
Well, they come, I don't know the real way they apply for the passports, but it has been denied for whatever reason.
Okay.
The immigration people can be totally not understanding
to
these things. So these are all the bad side of surrogacy. The good side, of course, there's been a lot of happy mothers and children born, happy families, and that's really satisfying. You have to find a via media which does not harm anybody, harm either the mother or the child. That's the main thing.
Okay.
That's what I would say about surrogacy, but should be done when truly medically indicated. We should be very clear about it, because otherwise we are putting the life of a lady at risk for the sake of money. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, doctor.
Welcome.